Hey, 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 welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. Today's kind of segment is called Barbershop Conversations. Nothing scripted, everything's just kind of in the open. I invited a few guests here, and the barbershop is about, guys just talking, having that one on one or a group discussion, and we're just going to talk about many things probably. The hour that we have. I have today's guest is Marvin Speller, life coach, business owner, great dear friend of mine. I love him to death. He's stirred me in a lot of different directions, but they were all positive. And welcome, Marvin.
Thank you, sir.
And
Appreciate
my
that.
and my brother, not from another mother, Kevin Perry.
Hmm.
He's here.
I
Talk to us.
appreciate you. I
All right.
appreciate, me being on with the life coach and you. It's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? To put me on.
Well,
This is the barber shop because Michael Kahn told me that he wanted me to be on his show, but he can't even show up for this one.
Hmm.
well, I don't know. He may be cooking or cleaning, doing something. I don't know, brother. But this
Nah,
is a real.
he didn't show up at Monty's, neither to play basketball. So, I'm kind of thinking like he maybe sprained his ankle trying to sing.
Yeah, somebody may be trying to coach him up. That the jump shot hasn't been working for decades now, so maybe he's getting coached up. So, all right, what we're gonna do is just start this conversation out, and let's go with you, Marvin. What's on your mind today.
You know, First off, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me back again, and pleased to meet your brother as well. Um, any pairings we can meet, I'm always appreciative to go in that direction, right?
That's right.
I married a Perry, so I would know, right?
Bang, bang.
Yeah. So, I'm just glad to get on here and just build with you guys. I think many conversations we had on this is that just brothers just getting together and chatting and just building upon things, right? No one
Yes.
person has all the answers, right? So we can get together, and I think our collective minds can make things happen. So I'm grateful and appreciative. Much love to both of you brothers. So I
Much
really
love back
appreciate it.
to you.
Yeah,
Yes. Um, I'm glad to have you here. And just to let you all know in the audience that Marvin will come back, and we're going to talk to him about his life coaching and different things, and that'll be coming up next week. And
yep,
so I can't wait for that. We'll have another good episode. Um, that would be what, our third podcast?
yep. Third
Yeah.
podcast. Yep.
So, and it's always good viewing, good showing, good connection with the
Hey, you
really
get a
talented.
T-shirt after the third podcast or what? Because you got that poetic culture and stuff.
Listen,
As well, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean? He's
I,
family now too.
yeah,
There you
he's
You
go.
know what I mean?
I
You think he
appreciate
can
that.
steal a shirt in a poem since you stole my poems and named your company my name? I think he
listen,
can do that for the family.
listen. My poetic pulse is genuine. It's a blessing, and I didn't take anything from you. As you see, not even the looks that you have. I'm much better looking than you. You're the firstborn, so the best looks. I don't know what to tell you, brother. You got the high luck, man. You
I'm
got
glad
the
you grew that beard because they think you're my father. I'm like, yeah, man. Because I don't know whether to punch them or say, oh, cool. But then I realized, oh, he's saying I'm young. You know what I mean? Or he's
yeah.
saying Charlie old. One of either. Oh,
Listen, this is barbershop talk, and you're talking your madness, or your caca, as they say. But what what I wanted to kind of touch base with is you know, I'll address this to both of you. What's the most important thing that we can offer as men to each other? And Marvin, you off screen, you came up with a lot of good ideas, and it's something that I want to kind of introduce to the audience, or kind of brainstorm with the audience. Why don't you go ahead, Marvin?
Yeah, you and I have talked about this several times. There is this thing where I think if you go back and look at these old movies, right? You got guys hanging on the corner, hanging out, shooting pool, shooting craps or whatever, right? These
Hmm.
guys were sitting down, they just building upon things, right?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that's missing. And I think along the way, at some point in our lives, we get to the point, we got responsibilities with a job, we got families, and that camaraderie amongst guys is kind of missing, right?
Hmm.
So, and you can look at that from one angle, right? One angle is that you just kind of you don't see it as much. COVID kept us away from each other, and then you come back and you look at it, right? The mental health stats amongst brothers, um, and you can do talking about white brothers, black brothers, whatever brothers you want to call, right?
Hmm.
The mental health has gotten worse, right? And there are so many things that as us as a brothers, we're not bringing to the forefront. And sometimes you just need to build with another brother, right? Nothing wrong with the sisters, right? But sometimes you just need to build with each other. It's like, hey man, I got this on my mind. I need to run this past you, right? However you do it, right? There was a time, and you and I talked about this, Charlie. I'm a kid. I was growing up in the '70s, right? Every time you saw another brother, it was like, "Hey, brother, how you doing? Hey, blood." They call him blood back then, right? And
Hmm.
there was this camaraderie. Now you could be out in the street, you see another brother, and you won't even get a nod or a handshake or something, right? And I feel like what made us so great was our ability to get together and just build. So thank you for bringing us together. Like when I think about in barbershop, this is guys do. Some of them just sit there for hours. Just you could talk about sports. You could talk about anything that comes to mind. And sometimes it's a place where it allows guys to just to be vulnerable and just be them,
True.
right? And sometimes when you're doing that, there's like a load lifted off of you instead of you walking around every day. Because as you know, as you walk around every day as a black man, you got to deal with the world and you got to deal with these microaggressions. You got all these things happening, right? Where do you offload that at? Oh, I know where we offload it. We always talk to like, well, you just gotta be tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. And at some point, steel breaks. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to just kind of just talk and just having that kind of the word that's used out there is that safe space where people can go and just build.
It's
So
true.
I think that's so important, and I think you can't really discount the importance of this, especially at this time when you can look at it from a mental health standpoint. And our mental health, man. And you know what else is on a skyrocket, Charlie? Is suicides.
Yeah.
Suicides amongst black men, and men of color, whatever you want to say, right? But
Yeah.
those things are skyrocketing is because we don't have these outlets. And sometimes we just feel like we just need to rough it up, right? And we don't need to come forward and just be like, "Hey, Charlie, I got this on my mind. I need somebody to talk to, right?" And you could have
So
been the
true.
one that saved my life, Charlie. You could have been the one that's like, "Hey, man, I got you right now. Let's just build on this," right?
So
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 these are
true.
just the facts. I'm not trying to throw it out there to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to always speak to the truth and what's out there, and the battle I'm out here trying to fight, just like you.
So true. The welcome, my friend, my brother, my blood, Damon the Mandan. I love you, brother. Glad that you're joining us. He's a real dude. Just like everything that you spoke about, Marvin, actually comes from within with Mr. the Mandan here, and I'm glad he's here because I really want to hear what he has to say also. But before we get to you, Damon, I'm gonna go back to my brother, see if he wants to touch up what Marvin said. Okay. All right, Kevin.
Well, a lot of it got cut off, but yeah, I I'm driving with my wife, so you guys gotta pace. I looked at the road and you guys at the same time, but I think like you know we all we all separated at one time, right? When we were growing up and everybody was talking and everything was cool, you know what I mean? And we grew up as a family. And now a lot of people as individuals have success and we don't have that no more, So then like you got to go to life coaches, you got to go to you don't open up enough with friends as it is no more, and you don't see elders no more. You don't. So how are you supposed to respect people if you trying to? The only thing you want is respect in yourself. So I know that. You know what I mean. I know there was a generation gap that faltered. But it, right now, I think like people are learning because them people that that lost that balance and coming back, like Damon, you know what I'm saying? They know now because they have kids, you know what I mean? So we can bring it back. But at that time, a lot of generations were being raised by mothers, so you didn't have a brother to talk, or to in my aspect, how I say Charlie's my father, but I had big people out in the streets that would just be able to pull me aside and grab me and say whatever, and then at one time I'm younger than them and I got to pull them aside. You know what I mean? So we have respect for brothers. Now, the respect ain't there because mothers put it in people's heads that they did everything, which is cool because my mother did everything. My father, all we can do is get off what people know in the streets because I didn't see that much of him until he was dying. You know what I mean? So everything I learned from being a man was somebody from the streets or somebody like my uncles or something. But I couldn't have them all the time. So the this the street gap is what stops it. It's not the mentors out there. It wish you can have a lot of people from the street to come back and say, "Yo, look, I made it, man. You don't have to be here." Before they figure it out on their own, because it's usually too late. So they're automatically thinking they're done. Like I did when I was growing up. They told me, "Oh, I'm gonna be at 16. You ain't gonna live." Then when I moved to California, I made it past. They told me 21, you ain't gonna live. Oh, you're gonna go to jail. Oh yeah, I did go to jail, but that didn't mean my life was over. You know what I mean? I rebounded. You know what I mean? From looking
Right.
because my uncles are still my mentors because they're from UMass, so it ain't in my blood to be jailed. So you can't say it's hereditary. My brother's a cop. You know what I mean? So sometimes people make up statistics and it helps people down because once you hear that, you think you're supposed to be that. Oh, my father went to jail. I gotta be that. So then, I'm blessed that don't happen to me. With my kids, my siblings. But I'm blessed that at the time, I did have this barbershop talk with people because I'm nosy to be right there in adults conversation, but I'm also nosy to be like, yo, what this? I'm a kid. I'm going through this. You ain't. You're over here sitting back on a rocking chair. Because before me, everything was handed to everybody because our uncles came over, our grandfathers came over, and they had to have money to start off. And we didn't learn that we should have kept learning like they did. What we did is got selfish and got Americanized, and that right there, I caught myself Samuel Jackson, but yeah, definitely that gap stopped us because we went from Creole to English. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like the immigrants before us the same way. Their grandfathers them they are taught. Once we figured we were free, we lost the ambition to just keep surviving. You know.
All right.
Go ahead, Damon.
Good input, brother Marvin. Good input. I appreciate it. Damon, man, can you add to that? You know, disagree
Well,
with it, whatever you want, man. It's all about what you want to
nah,
have, what you want to say.
I know the struggle better than anybody, and I'm probably the light-skinnedest black man you ever seen in your life. So you already know I've seen a lot of that struggle as opposed to the other side. So
True.
when I see my brothers articulate how they feel in regards to different things, whether it be how the educational system treated them, how the judicial system treated them, or even socially, how they have to navigate the friendships and stuff like that. My heart always goes out to them. because that's the other side of my family. You know, so I see my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles in these faces, you know. And not only that, I live in the same community as a lot of, you know, you brothers that we grew up with. And I saw the struggles that y'all went through, in and outside. You know, we were on the other side of the wall together. We, you know, so we got a lot of life experiences when it comes to this thing. And I think New Bedford, with the exception of some events, we didn't have that same struggle that a lot of these other cities had with the police brutality and all that. Yeah, they used to mess with us and stuff like that, but on a huge scale in these big cities, it was rampant. We talk about crazy. But I think because the cops were from here, just like yourself, Charlie, it made it harder for people to want to do something bad to somebody because they knew they was going to have to see their uncle or their family member at some point.
True.
And then have to answer that in a social setting as to why it is you messing, you know, with my family. So we were just close. Portuguese and Cape Verdean was real close. I feel the dynamics changed now, where New Bedford isn't really cut up like that anymore. It's so diverse now that, you know, we don't have those guidelines so definitively. I think we're more blended now, you know, with the Hispanic community and other cultures coming into the city. But trust me, I understand our plight. My brother Lamont Ferguson is going through something right now where he's trying to get some awareness for some local things that have been going on. So you'll see me in the future reaching out to him and trying to make something come of that. But you know, we're just in it. That's all we can do. We're just in it, and we're in it to survive. We're in it to create a better environment and give the tools to our kids to be able to navigate that better, and the people around us. So instead of us looking for the OGs to grab those kids aside, we have to identify with that, and we have to be that for them. And take those life lessons and take them to the side and say, hey, here's what I've been through. Here's how that ended up. You know, let me give you some wisdom so that way you can go a different route with it. And you don't have to travel that same path, you know. But it's our obligation. We're obligated to do that. A lot of people try to skirt it. I ain't got time. I'm at old lady. I got my own kids. We skirt those responsibilities. But it is our responsibility. Because we're the first ones to be like, it takes a village. But then when your part comes to do that part, now all of a sudden we ain't got no time for it. We got to make the time for it. Because they need us.
Exactly.
Yeah, they sure do.
And we're always trying to we always got to try to identify different things and be proactive right now because it's just too many people acting on their own or juveniles acting at their own. And let me back up a little bit because it's not always juveniles. Some people don't have mature minds and they continue to do juvenile things, you know, or young, immature things. So we got to even watch out for them to kind of grab somebody, you know, or grab somebody and talk to them and speak to them. I'm gonna go to this comment section right now, and just reading something while y'all talking, but I was paying attention, and let's see. Hold on one second, fellas. Yeah.
Kevin got a nice view up there.
Yeah.
Like a hotel, brother.
I just try to live, man.
Nathan Victor says, I have a very small circle of people that I build with. It just so happens that a lot of them are extremely successful and community-based, even though they live far from home. When I was able to work in my field of choice, I took every minority under my wing, including females. Being a boss on a high corporate level comes with tremendous responsibility. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that. I like what he's talking about because he's seeing things. He's seeing what he has to do, and his particular choice may be to make people successful, like he was and like he is. You want to compound on that, Marvin?
Yeah, I love to see that. A lot of great things are happening where you don't see it as well. Um, I think a lot of people have the will to go out and help people and have that desire in their heart. I know you don't really hear about that, right? There's also another way of looking at it too. I think a lot of people are operating on, it's like riding a car and you have a little bit of gas left and you got to get out and you got to do all these different things, right? I think collectively, and I will say I'll speak from standpoint of men. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we don't do the necessary things to build ourselves up to go out and help people. It's hard to help people when you're not feeling good about yourself, man. And
True.
and you see this all the time. People writing affirmations, people saying good things or paying it forward and all this stuff. People say these things because they're speaking to everybody about it's important to take care of yourself along the way. And sometimes you can't help people unless you're really helping yourself. What do you do to do for yourself sometimes? And thing about it, when you look at that man in the mirror, what do you see? What do you say to yourself? So I hear a lot of sides to that, right? I think there's a lot of people out there doing big things to help everybody, but I would say, especially from, I would say from a guy standpoint, guys don't do enough. I would say self care. They don't do enough things to take care of themselves, whether it's from a dietary standpoint or just feeling good, man. And it's
Mm-hmm.
at some point, and I think we're seeing this in society, and there's a degradation of helping the children when you're operating at half capacity. And I think you're seeing that, and I think you see some of these things that happen in these kids because people are walking around, man, and not feeling so good about themselves. And I know, Charlie, you and I have talked about that offline, the importance of that whole thing of self care. And some of the things, I think it goes back to what I was saying. We're so programmed and taught just to be hard and tough, but there's a whole other side. And then a hard and tough thing, right? It starts to wear you out a little bit, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's a piece of that. Got to spend time taking care
Oh,
of yourself, man. Whatever you got to do, whether that's time for yourself, etc. You know what I'm saying, Charlie? And I know
So
when you and
true.
I sat down for all those weeks, man, that was one of the things I was talking about. Hey, what
Yeah.
can you do to peel yourself away from whatever's helping to rebuild yourself? And I'm going to talk about this one book I read many years ago. It was called um, what was it? How full is your bucket? Right? And when you think about it, how full is your bucket? When you are a bucket and you're giving that bucket to people, right? And you're giving what's out that bucket to people. When do you go back and refill that bucket? Because at some point you can't give from an empty bucket.
Mm-hmm. And I we
Facts.
Damon, you're doing a couple of things, and Damon, you always get your hand in the mix of quite a few things. And one of the things I remember is during the time that Puerto Rico really went through a crisis, and some of the work that you were doing, and just getting people their need, their necessities, and during that, you probably had some conversations with people um, during that experience. Um, I
Kind of
just want to.
kind of breaking up there, Charlie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's kind of choppy today. I don't know what's going on, but I
Yeah.
hope I'm not the only one seeing it
No.
that way. I hope it's
All right. What about now?
yeah. All right, go ahead.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to. It should get better right now.
And the screens occasionally go black and stuff too. So I don't know
All right.
if anybody else is seeing that. Especially
Yeah.
you, Kev. You driving. You got that kind of reception. You must got that Apple phone or something.
Let me see.
He's got his
it
line
is
muted.
supposed to be,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Um. Well. All right, Damon. It's open to talk about whatever you want to. At this point, stuff you heard just now, or if you want to go into another topic. I just
I want
want
to
to.
talk about the barbershop. That's what I want to
Okay.
talk about. I want to talk about King's Cut back in the day. About how you used to go in there and let's just say you had $7 and you knew the haircut was 10. And people like Darren and Rob and Raymond and John Reed and Spank, all them guys, man, they were just great guys and they took care of the hood. So whenever they knew somebody was on some hard times, you didn't make them feel nothing about it. He told you what he was working with and you let him get up out the seat. You still got to pay for the chair at the end of the day. But you'll take that L because community was more important than that extra couple of dollars. Making that person feel uplifted, like you ain't by yourself. Come here. I ain't gonna give you a free haircut every time.
Yeah.
Because next time you come, I want to hear about the solution. I want to try to get to that part and then try to fix whatever it was that made you in the deficit in the first place. But I'm always here to look out for you when you're in that jam. And hopefully that's what this is we create a platform, that barbershop platform, that somebody might need some advice. Marvin gives great advice. This ain't the first time I seen him. You know what I'm saying? I see how you interact with your brother. So you have a dynamic that there might be two brothers out there that are getting into it, and then they see how you guys have matured and grown together, and they know of you guys, and now you guys might be inspiring them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just come with the comedy. I'm just trying to and keep the humor with it because I love to see you guys happy and what have you. But I just can't. I'm not really that guy like Marvin. He's just well articulated, well versed, and he come ready. He probably got a clipboard right there, right now. Like, yep, already talked about it.
No, I'm learning from you, brother. I'm learning from both of y'all. I'm learning from both of y'all, man. What y'all saying too is inspiring me, man. I don't, yeah, I'm inspired by both of y'all, brother. For real.
I appreciate it.
it-
To me, it's like listening to Damon, and like listening to my father all over again. 'Cause it's like, so it means that we got intellectual again, because that's how they were brought up to talk way long time ago to make us keep going. And then we got relaxed with our mind game,
Yep.
and it kind of like lapsed us. But I love it. Like, so to you two, it's whatever. But to me, it's like tears in my heart because I appreciate everything he does right now because I didn't get to do it. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing listening to him. You know, it really warms me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you can go ahead and keep preaching what you want. There's some people that get caught in the system and think like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and they're fake about it. And that's what fucks up kids because when you get a hero that went through what you go through, and then you find out he's falsified. It's fucked up. Excuse me. So to watch him be real as he is such amazing to me. Because I didn't see that happen to a lot of these kids. I seen them use excuses to like fail, and it wasn't about who was giving them lectures. Because people were there in their heads. It was just about they can get away with it, and that was easy money and easy way of life. But as far as like mentally, that starts. When you get that way, man, it sucks as a kid as you're going through. Trying to please everybody because you don't even get your space in your mind to like really say something to yourself. So you be almost hesitant to say to people because you thinking, oh, if I tell them they're gonna think I'm soft. So then now you look at it like it's so serious now that because of that militant attitude they used to have, they got away from you can't talk to people because you think people are gonna think you're crazy or you nuts or whatever they say you are. And in my philosophy, I try to always talk to everybody and try to be there for people. I may be mad at 2 o'clock in the morning you calling me, but you need help, so I gotta talk to you, and that's free. You know, it's free
Yeah.
because I can call you at 2 in the morning and say, "Hey, you all right?" And you be like, "Huh? What you calling me for? I'm normal now." Nah, because I want to make sure you still normal. You know, you call me at 2 in the morning, I'm letting you know I'm still there. So I, I learned a lot of lessons through talking to different people and being out there with these the generation gap. Not just that, it's just that who you with, and if y'all in some circle that you can't reach out to people,
Well, the
until somebody says, so like I appreciate everything both you guys are doing, Charlie too, so I'll give him, his props, but I'll give you guys your props because you're trying, you be a life coach and you're ready to help people, and at the same time, other people are ready to step on people, and I think that's a lot of the hurt right there is you can't talk to people because you get embarrassed when you talk to them,
well, we some sometimes, fellas, people suffer in silence. There's some things that they
Yeah.
don't speak about, or who they don't. Suffering in silence is something that they may not speak about someone or something, and I feel there's a lot of that going on. They're just not wanting to speak about it, only because maybe a lack of confidence, and I see that a lot, and it may be, you know, through some trauma, and that's the reason why they don't speak about it. But all in all, as you look and you listen to others that kind of went through things, and the one thing that got them better is being able to stop suffering in silence and getting things out. And how do you feel about that, Marvin? Is that, do you think it's factual? Support me on that. I think that's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I mean, I've been that dude.
Okay.
I've suffered in silence, right? Um, and luckily, I've been able to have a support group around me, people I can chat with, because I don't know, man. I'm under this mindset that we all need help, and it just burns me up, man. And I'm not trying to get on this high horse, but I just got to go here for a second. Um, my wife and I, as you know, we help feed the homeless here in LA, right?
Yes.
There's this row of tents just on the other side of Brentwood, right when you go into
Hmm.
Brentwood, LA. Brentwood's one of the most wealthiest neighborhoods. And I say to myself, if you woke up every day and the problems you see in the world, you say to yourself, I am that, then you know what you're going to do? Somewhere in that mind of yours, you're going to be thinking, you know what? I'm going to find a solution, right? But that whole illusion of separation while other people having problems is the gap you see, right?
True.
And I had to learn this, man. I didn't just wake up one day and be like, hey, I'm gonna try to go ahead and help people. I had to learn this, Charlie. And
Hmm.
I tell you, I learned it. I was 21 years old. I started working in Washington D.C. I grew up in Baltimore. Started working in Washington D.C. and I was working in the worst neighborhood. One of the things I realized is that people are people, right? And I really started having a true love for people beyond my own selfish needs. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So I had an opportunity to see people suffer, giving people opportunities. And you know what? I also got that from my mom. When I was growing up, my mom was a steward in the community. So was my grandmother, grandparents, and all that. So I got some of that from them. But the life experiences, seeing people need help, man, we all need help at times, right? I don't care what it is. It could be like that brother was talking about. Hey, I got $7 a day, but I need a haircut, right?
True.
But while I'm getting this haircut, I'm getting some life lessons from these OGs in here, right? So, you go back and you take that, each one teach one. You go out here and try to teach people and do that. But I'm one of many warriors out here, man, just trying to make a difference because what I see going on in the world, I see myself as that and no separation. And like I said, man, I need help at times. You know what I'm saying? We all need it, and so I look at it that way. Going out and try to help people, I need help. It's just a cycle of life. So,
True.
but what you were saying, people suffer big time in silence, man. It's like you think about it from a guy perspective. I call you up, right? And some guys think this way. If I call you up, hey Charlie, I'm suffering today. Some guys be thinking, well, that dude is soft. You know what I'm saying? That's a stigma
Yeah.
that's passed down for generation after generation. Since someone not something clicking in your mind, it's like, hey, I need to get with this dude because he may be on the verge of killing himself.
So true. I mean, how many? Uh, I mean, we all probably experienced someone actually killing himself. And actually, I seen a post earlier today where someone is basically, you know, saying that their friend passed away just because they didn't have anybody to talk to. And then when you kind of look at it and you say, "Wow, I would have talked to you all night. I would have talked to you every day. I would have did whatever I had to, especially if you're thinking about hurting yourself." So,
Right.
um, Kevin, how do you feel about suffering silence? Is that something you experience, or is it something where you just kind of just say, I'm gonna say whatever I have to, regardless?
Well, I learned, because I'm older now, and I learned that I can chase years now, but before, I assumed it was just me, so I couldn't talk to anybody. I had to learn, I can talk to somebody, and so I I know the feeling of suffering in silence because it took me a while, and it got me violent more, like, because I look in that wall of silence and your suffering, you try to find another wall to like slam into, until finally you ran into enough walls because like you
You're
wake up
trying
and
to.
it's like
Well, that's something like what you're saying. You're suffering in silence for a particular thing, and that wall is set there. So you want to turn in the other direction. You end up hitting another wall.
yep,
But
yep,
eventually, you're gonna cage yourself in, and now you got to deal with it. No matter what, you got to deal with not just one thing. You got to deal with three other things. Almost four things altogether. If you just dealt with that first one, then there wouldn't be any walls. Period. So and that's just my opinion. I uh let me open it up. To whatever you guys want to talk about. It could be anything. Like we said, this is the barbershop thing. And excuse me, everyone. Damon did click off. He's probably having some technical problems. It could be on my part of his, but I hopefully, my brother comes back. If not, in another 2 weeks, I'm gonna invite him back because the intellect that gentleman has needs to be expressed. So we're definitely gonna get him back on this barbershop segment. But feel free, Kevin, if you want to talk about something other than what we talked about, or we can continue on with it. We got about 20 minutes, and so I just want to make sure that we're saying what we have to on this barbershop segment. Excuse me.
Barbershop.
Yeah, barbershop.
Another
do
barbershop.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said he had technical difficulties. Yeah,
Damon, we love you,
we
brother.
go- we like to talk so much things. I appreciate what you say. Both you guys. If we lighten it up just a little bit, let's talk about how we miss being at family barbecues and how that's missing now, and how life's changed from that to like taking a family dinner. Like when we grew up, it was family. Like you had to go to grandma's house and eat, and you did that once a week. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And now it's like one person go visit a grandmother and say hi, oh, how you doing, check on, and she don't cook no more. you have a son that cooks or uncle, you know. But before that was such a blessing to eat grandma's cooking, and you had to eat it all, you know. So like
Well,
it was tasty, or you know, or we assumed it was tasty because I couldn't get up until it was done.
well,
But
you know that if there's always families have that one particular person that keeps everybody intact, you
Yep.
know, and then when you kind of lose that person, then
Mhm.
you don't have someone stepping up. You have people stepping down and separating, you know, and then it now you got to kind of mend it. Someone has to mend it, or you all got to mend it. But when you have death in the family, especially from an iconic figure, whether it be a grandparent, a parent, or whatever, you know, that's what kind of, you know, the family legacy or the family traditions we end up losing them.
I saw that. I
Hmm.
saw that. I saw that in
Yeah,
my family.
yeah,
My grandmother's house was like it was a sanctuary. You stopped by, you was gonna get some good food. My grandmother in the neighborhood, she watched so many kids, she fed so many people. She was just one hell of a cook too, right?
hmm,
I got a cousin. Well, I think those genes ran down into him because he's got those cooking genes, right?
yeah,
I don't have them, right? Which I'm sad about. But you know, it was a house, man. It was a house, and I think when she died, I think one segment of our family died because um, we had an aunt that was probably going to pick up the torch and run with it, right?
hmm.
But she passed as well. So I mean,
Wow.
you talk about some families, you're a couple hits away from not having that where people can get together and show love and support, and it's just not the same. Sometimes, when to your point, Charlie, when you have that one or two people who pass in the family, you might try to duplicate it, right? But it's hard to duplicate it, right? Because somebody may not cook as good, right? Somebody may not tell the same story. I think about, you know, when we think about a barbershop, right? You go into a barbershop, you always got that one guy that's cutting up, right? When I think about my family, I had this uncle, Uncle Charlie,
Hmm.
and he was a really Charlie too, right? So, you know, he was somebody. He was always laughing and joking, just bringing a light atmosphere, right, and bringing fun to the family, right? Because I think you got to have it. You got to have somebody cooking, right? You got to have somebody that's in there that's cracking jokes and right and just keeping it light. You got somebody that's telling a life story. So you have a little bit of different components that hold the family together.
True, true. Um, KP, your radio is kind of it's taking over the microphone. Um, but
you should have said that a long time ago. I would have been all over her. I thought she was chilling, listening to music like you couldn't hear it, man.
I can I can hear it loud and clear, brother. You know,
Yeah, it looked like I'm a gangster. That was the song playing too. That's so stupid.
it's from
She's dumb.
from. It would be someone from L.A. You know singing too.
Yeah. That's crazy.
The so
No, it's
and
funny. I went.
go ahead,
Uh,
KP. Go ahead.
know how we was talking about the tents, you know,
Getting cut out.
and I remember like going to San Diego and they call that tent city, and I'm listening to him talk about that certain gap away. It's real, you know, because we were like in the $1,500 suite, you know, and these dudes were homeless, like not even a mile away in their whole tent, you know. So when we were pulling up, we were like, wow, our hotel near the tent, you know, and then you pull over in your luxury and you say, wow, man, this is crazy how short of a distance you come from you where you're rich and you're poor, you know. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. We got some family in San Diego, kind of dealing with the homelessness, and it is really extreme out there. and that's
Well,
one of the that's one of the top. It's always in the top three as far as cities within the country that you can live in, and but the homeless numbers are extreme. You know, they're really up there. So, and maybe it's all due to just that warm temperature and climate where people can just kind of you know stay out there in the elements, and but it doesn't mean just because the elements are warm that things are good, because
How about
when you're not doing that self-care like Marvin talked about earlier, you can end up you know hurting yourself, and so but Kevin, KP, what was you gonna say?
no? I was gonna say something crazy because, like, I know people that, they can't even get help unless they're homeless for so many days. You know what I mean? And some programs like that kind of hurt them because, you got to be in it to, like, and then to get an extra help, you got to be 90 days. You know what I mean? And it kind of sets them up to being like, it kind of, I don't know. I want to say it like that, but it's like the system sets you up to stay homeless.
Well, that's when outreach and investigations need to be on point all the time, especially when you're going out there doing outreach. But every outreach doesn't mean that you're going to get answers. Outreach, you have to do things other than doing that outreach. You have to have a rapport with people that are in the streets. They gotta understand. Oh, they gotta trust you. They want to know that you're there for their wellness. And so just putting a shirt on someone that says outreach doesn't necessarily mean that that person is going to get the answers. So
sure.
you got to put the right people out there, and possibly more people that can kind of relate to the situation. Not that I want to be homeless, but I think I can relate to some of the things that they're going through. Um,
I remember I was at that situation, where I was
yeah,
homeless. I had to get my shit together. Excuse me. Where, and it wasn't by choice. It's just something happens. You think, you have enough money, and then you wake up and you don't. It didn't
yeah,
last long because but to feel it, living in a
hey,
hotel for a little while sucked, but got my head right real quick. You know,
I
that's
like
why I
this.
live now.
Yeah, you gotta
You
live.
know,
I like this comment. It says, "Why Nana's always trying to slide you some money in your hand before you left their home, like it was some kind of drug deal," and it's so true. I mean,
uh, especially for me, especially for me. My grandmother's always gave me money.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's because I held their secrets or what. But I knew not to say what they were saying. They might backhand me. The next thing I know, I was always at the right place at the right time. I got slipped plenty of money, man. I love that.
yeah.
Miss that. That's probably why when I'm
Um,
around people, I want money. Give me some money. I thought that was the tradition. You know what I mean? If you're older than me, hand me money.
hey, this can't be. This is the barbershop. Nathan Victor says, "Can you get KP off camera because his face is hurting me?"
Man, see, I didn't want to go there, man. I didn't want to go there, but I love me, man. I ain't gonna. I love all Turtles friends, man. But I just, you know, it was me that damaged them. That's why they got attitudes now because they just couldn't, take what I dished out for them. But it made them stronger, and I'm glad for what they became. It's a different group of men. All them Danish friends, man, the Hayward's friend, all of them, man. They proved that you can't tell us we're gonna do this. We have to go through our struggles and straight succeed. Even when you told me I was supposed to fail. So every time one of them succeed, it makes me more proud because it wasn't easy for none of them,
Hmm.
and none of us. And I love that we could have closed the door on life a lot of times, but they're still going. And it makes me proud that it's not we have fight in us. Like it didn't matter if we were weak or whatever was an excuse. We didn't take it. We do it. If I had a broken leg and Charlie or Nate challenged me, I snuck out the house and went to go play them. I didn't care if they beat me. But beating them on a broken leg, oh my God, I could talk for years, you know what I'm saying? So it was all about who can talk.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he got cut off because God works in mysterious ways. Because KP, you're talking some junk, man. Because you could have you could have two legs and you couldn't beat me.
Charlie, remember that time you came out and it was Trent and you thought like you, because we just came back from the summer and you were at New Bedford already, so you thought you owned Monty's and you were like, wow, my brother grew, because you thought you were gonna be taller than me all the time. But I came back that summer taller than you, and you tried to shoot on me and I blocked you like 10 times in a row, and Trent just kept laughing. He laughed so hard he peed his pants. You know what I mean? I was so dying. I was like, this is it, Charlie. You can never beat me again, man. And you lost
Wow.
every game since.
Look, the only reason,
Oh man.
the best thing about the, the the best. Listen, Marvin. You know what?
I love it, man. I got front
Listen,
row on this one, man.
listen. He you know what? He couldn't beat me. I let him block for a while, block my shot, whatever.
Hey,
But the bottom
Marvin.
line is I won every
Okay.
single time.
No.
So
Hey, Marvin.
if he didn't block those shots, I probably had to score maybe, 3 more points, because it's only maybe once, twice. That's only because I slowed down, instead of just driving right past him, I had to slow down.
hmm
That's usually when he blocked it.
Sounds like a rematch is in
Yeah.
store, right?
Oh
Oh, no,
man, you don't
not
want to
me.
pump him up. He wanted a rematch so bad. He invented basketball tournaments to put his police buddies against me. Like and then he was like, oh, Kevin's gonna put in a team. I know we can beat them. So his police guys suck. So he thought he would put them against me, and we would blow them up by 30. And then he tried to do the same with the fire station, and we blew them out too. And I was like, Charlie, you ain't never gonna get your win. You know what I mean? But the year I had Greg Rodriguez was the year the cops thought they had it all. They were practicing. Charlie rented the gym every week so they can beat my team. But I had
Yeah.
Greg Rodriguez, so they
That's
wasn't
it.
going to do nothing. Man,
Uh,
Charlie gave Greg Rodgers his biggest MVP trophy. I swear it was the biggest trophy ever in New Bedford. Man, I still got dreams about that trophy, man. You know?
Yeah. Well, Marvin, don't believe anything he says because I don't ever remember him beating me at all. And that's just good memory, I guess. It's
That's
good memory.
donuts to your head. Stop
No,
eating
no.
donuts. It's sugar brain rush. That's what it is.
All right. Well, on that note, Marvin, we got about probably 8 to 10 minutes. I just want to kind of throw it on your lap, and what do you want to continue close this out with?
Man, I think this part of people just talking and building, man. We had this whole year of the pandemic, people not getting together.
Yeah.
Just getting together and just smiling and laughing again, man. I think this is going to go a long way with helping us. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can do it, do it. My wife and I, we started doing barbecue with some of our family out here the past month, 2 months, right?
True.
And it's been great just to get around people, man. And sometimes just to be around, conversate, have some good laughs. This is what this is about, man. And this is a part of that self care. And I tell you, I keep going back to self care. Last year, man, I went through hell, and along the way, I kept doing things to give myself some self care,
Mm-hmm.
and it paid off, man. I don't know what I would have done had I not done that. And that, if I could leave that with anybody, I don't care who you got. I don't care if you got 10 kids. I don't care if you got a husband. You got a whole family of people you got to take care of every day. You can give yourself 10, 15 minutes for yourself. You will be better for yourself and others. Don't try to help people when you're empty. because it doesn't do anybody any good. So I'm glad I could sit here and laugh with you guys today. That filled my soul. Um, that was a form of self care, getting laughed at. Every time I go to bed at night, man, the last hour, I do nothing but go online and YouTube and look at things to laugh at about,
Hmm.
right? And that whole thing of just filling yourself back up, man. And so I feel like every day I'm just better for doing for others, man.
So
But
true.
that would be the thing I would say, man. And I appreciate being here, Kevin. I appreciate it, man. I already love you like a brother, man. I appreciate you, man. Just your whole vibe, your whole spirit. Um, it's refreshing, brother. And I'm glad I got you. I got you. I didn't get this facade. I got you, and so I'm glad to meet people when they get just to be themselves. And Charlie, you've always been that dude.
You also, there's no hesitation, when it comes to listening to you and kind of getting your intellect, your life experiences. There's no hesitation. I absorb it, and I actually want to put it to work. So, but that's what brothers. That's what blood. That's what we talked about earlier. That's what we do. And you know, KP, I appreciate you coming on, doing your thing, being who you are.
Yeah.
Um, Damon, another dude. I know you're listening. You know, thank you for coming on, but I also want to invite you in 2 weeks to come back with another 2 or 3 people so you can, throw your intellect and your brainstorms out there. So,
Yeah.
um, brothers, I really, really appreciate you. I know you got things to do. And Kevin, enjoy your vacation. Marvin, you continue to do what you're doing. And when we come back, um, was it next week? We come
Next
back
week.
next week on your
Yeah.
podcast. Please, just bring it like you always do. And we're
I'll
gonna,
bring it, brother, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Hey man,
Um,
I appreciate you both, man, and I love that we get to talk as men, because I like to talk, you know what I mean. But I appreciate it more when you talk to brothers you like and you love. So you all be safe, and I appreciate the couple minutes we got to share together. All right, be safe, and the best Victor out there is Reggie Victor, Big Daddy Victor. Okay, there, Nathan, sucker boy. Peace, guys. I love
All
y'all.
right.
Be safe.
all
All right.
right,
All right.
man.
Love you, brother.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
All right. Y'all take care.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
God bless y'all. Thank you.
All right,
Marvin,
Charlie.
thank you, man. You
Okay,
have a
my
good night.
brother. You too.
Take
All right.
care. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Hashtag the Barbershop podcast, definitely. Maybe that will be trending. Thanks for the input. Thanks for the comment, rather. Love y'all, brothers. Love you too, man. This is what I'm talking about, the barbershop conversations, where we all get to, just bring stuff out, whatever it is. And 2 days from now, we're going to have the beauty salon conversations where we would have 3 or 4 ladies on here talking, 3 or 4 women talking about, what they're going through in life. And so that will be coming up in 2 days. And I'm looking forward to that. So, and they're going to always bring the real deal also, and what they're going through and what they're talking about. So please stay in tune with the Really Charlie podcast on StreamYard, Anchor, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. Please like my YouTube channel and continue to share these videos, these podcasts as they're live, because the more people we have on here commenting and listening, the better we are, and we can live and learn through the comments also. Doesn't have to be the person on the screen. The comments are very intellectual, and it definitely brings something out, So, um, and look, we had some serious conversation. We had some, people capping on each other. I love it, and that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what goes on in the barbershop. Nathan Victor, thank you. for continuing to listen. Everyone, thank you for continuing to come on the Really Charlie podcast. I like this, and there's also a message. Don't forget Friday, June 25th at White's of Westport, fundraiser for Anthony Tobby Richards, our friend, and hope to see y'all there. So, a good man. Tobby is a good man. Did a lot for a lot of people, and please, and if you can't go, just donate to the cause, because under his name is always going to be a good place for that money. All right, everyone. Thank you. God bless. Stay blessed. And continue to support the Really Charlie podcast.